Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much again for joining me here. I hope you're having a phenomenal weekend. We're taking a quick look here at SUI, seeing what's going on throughout this wonderful price action. I mean, take a look at this here. $2 even, specifically held like a champ there at that 0.618 fib level. So that is really, really awesome. Unfortunately, the price didn't come down as low as this 195 to fill that fair value gap. So unfortunately, slight missed opportunity there, but hey man, it's okay. Nothing wrong with the missed opportunity when the price action does what it does, and I'm sure the majority of you who are watching are spot bag holders and just really loving and appreciating the price action here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about best, worst case scenarios. We're going to look at larger time frames too to identify previous highs. I think we are very, very close to breaking that. Yep, we broke it actually. It was 217, 218. We are now above that level. So we are officially in price discovery mode here at this point for SUI, and that is fantastic. Quick little heads up too, folks. I like to look at the charts abstractly and ensure that we look at things just kind of without emotion. So to those emotional idiots that keep posting kind of trollish comments, I'm sorry, but man, it's almost humorous actually. I get a kick out of it, so I guess it's not that bad. But it's just funny how ridiculous some people will be when I say the price is even going to sneeze a little bit to the downside. People get super passionate. So I'm surprised to find out how ridiculous some people are with this coin. But hey, it's okay, folks. When money's involved, people always get a little kind of crazy. So I'll let that slide. So let's take a quick look at the back-end liquidation data, double check a few things, kind of see what's up, because with the liquidation from before, as we can see on the charts, I kind of drew this out, there was about 10 billion, upwards of about 235 as a rough estimate. So we look at the liquidation here. Obviously, the more local shorts are starting to come in here, upwards of 250, 260. We look at the macro, majority of the liquidation, the heavier liquidation, is getting swept here. Each one of these bars is roughly about $1 billion. So we can see 218, 219, all the way up to about 228, all got hit pretty hard. There's a little bit left between now and 235. Okay, so 235 again is kind of just that little range up there. That is a major fib level as well. And keep in mind, I'll update our fib levels here soon. I'll post that playout chart on our Twitter, Telegram, and Discord as per usual. But for the most part, still holding strong. It's common for price action to reverse when it hits one of these three levels once we enter either a price discovery mode or just break the local high. Generally, those two things coalesce together. So let's take a quick look at the back end. Just double check, see where the delta's at. Let's go ahead and refresh this guy because this is not the right chart. And let's take a look here. Delta is extremely high. So this is usually due when you see the liquidation delta get really high in one direction or the other. Usually there's somewhat of a reversal. Okay? And what I mean by that is recently we had a high short delta here when the price action was pulling down. People were shorting. We've since obviously shifted gears, but there's way too many people taking longs right now, and it would make sense for the price to pull back at least a little bit to either the local high or the previous all-time high. So with that, I think it was roughly about 217 was the all-time high for this coin, or the daily candlestick closure from before, which is roughly, again, 217. Okay, so again, we're starting to see a lot of correlations there with that little area, that 217 being a strong potential area of consideration for long. So if the price pulls back to fill this fair value gap, then we'll see a pivot there. Keep in mind there are a lot of fair value gaps still below the price action, and those commonly get filled. So again, I know if you're rolling your eyes like, oh my gosh, this guy's an idiot because this coin's just going to the moon, joke's on you, you're actually the idiot. Because there is no such thing as a moon when it comes to parabolic trading. Okay, again, I simply say that because a lot of folks, they get really bent out of shape when things don't go their way, but they're super hell-bent on proving people are wrong. And that's okay, I get things wrong all the time. But I'd much rather prepare you for a worst case scenario in case the price does come down so you can have better considerations for averaging in or dollar cost average versus just telling you everything's going to go straight up. Like I could say we're going to $3, $4, $5 in a week or two, but that would be wrong because the likelihood of that is extremely, extremely low. Keep in mind, this coin, great project, I get it, the whole thing. But that doesn't matter too much when it comes to overextension and just the market itself. Like Bitcoin is hitting its resistance range. I think if Bitcoin makes a run towards 67,000, we'll totally see $3 as a possibility. But again, from right now at this point, it doesn't make a ton of sense to put all of your eggs in one basket. You should at least be diversifying. If your only coin right now is this coin, then you're kind of doing it wrong. And again, that's just just generally speaking in, best practice more so than anything. And I'm always looking out for people's best interest there. That's why I'm going to say that. I have no issues shooting you straight. So let's take a look here at the RSI. We can recognize we're over 70 on the RSI. This usually implies we're going to see continuation of the upside. If you look at the last time that we went over 70 on the RSI, you can see the price action did tremendously well. So it was right here on September 17th. So from the 17th all the way to right around the 3rd. So if you go from the 17th to the 3rd, that's like a 50% continuation if you exclude its highest point of about 80%. So bottom to top 80%, but overall ended up coming back down at 70 on the RSI at about 50% profit. That's a good substantial amount. Now I'm not claiming we're going to see a 50% increase from here. However, there's potential for that being above that level because again the price tends to run and you see crazy stuff happen when that occurs. So we maintain above 217. I think there's a distinct probability we're going to see a strong continuation higher. If we take a look at the stochastic RSI, we can kind of confirm that we are swinging upwards. MACD's converging. These are all positive signs here. And again, I know they're kind of rhetorical in a lot of ways because obviously we're going to get a convergence when the price does what it does here. But there's also a lot of volume to back it up too. And generally speaking, you want to pay attention to volume. That's why I don't really trust Bitcoin on the weekends because volume dries up. Right now, SUI is taking pretty much all the volume and absorbing that, so to speak. So it's really, really cool. Either way, 4-hour time frame, let's recognize a few things here. We are also breaking above 70 on the RSI here. So when you see 70 plus on the 4-hour and the daily, that's usually a very, very good sign. We can also see stochastic continuing upwards. Money flow index is right there with the RSI. MACD's converging, trend strength index is super high. We can also see as well, we're above all moving averages. There's literally no reason to consider a short with this coin. I've pretty much said that for the last week, but every time I mention the price action is going to pull back, some people get kind of bent out of shape. And the truth is, while it shouldn't pull back, to prepare you for it, I want you to know that there are some areas of interest, okay? And we'll look at that on the hourly time frame because this kind of helps indicate it, right? So this local high, 217, that seems like a solid pivot point. It would make sense for the price to consolidate here, continue upwards. We may even see somewhat of a pennant pattern form where the price action kind of works itself in. Just keep in mind, for the most part, this support level here should hold, right? That's generally how it's supposed to work. If it doesn't hold, I would say the next area here, this next fib level of roughly 208 and or $2 would be the key areas to consider dollar cost averaging based on the simple fact that we have fair value gaps in both of those lower ranges. And then also, of course, we saw $2 hold very, very strong previously. Okay, and again, round numbers, large round numbers, like Bitcoin, for example, 60,000, 70,000, 50,000. Those numbers are notoriously super, super strong, which is all the more reason why if you're going to consider entry at those levels, do $2.01 instead of $2 even. So that way you ensure you get filled. Again, there's just little tactics you want to kind of be mindful of. Round numbers, you want to kind of avoid them, but you also want to recognize how powerful they are. So $2, I wouldn't be surprised if we do see that range again. That'd be probably a pretty solid pivot point. So a couple of scenarios exist. We see a bounce off to 17, which seems like a likely scenario right now based on the simple fact that that is a previous high. Let me just double check this again because I want to make sure we're on the same page. We go back here. It was 218 technically was the most recent high with a candle wick. And as far as candlesticks are concerned, we got 207, 208. So that gives us some confluence there at that next fair value gap, okay? So what I mean by that is we look here, previous daily candlestick closures have a tendency of being good support and resistance levels. If we look at this on just say the hourly, we can see that confirms right there at 208 with the recent high, where the price action spent a lot of time before it inevitably broke out. Okay, so again, DCA targets 217, 208, and $2.01. 201 because again, you don't want to stick to that round number. Those would be three solid considerations for longs and or spot bags. Okay. Once again, I'll kind of reiterate those and I'll post those on our playout chart here on Twitter, Telegram, and Discord if you're not familiar. It looks a little something like this here and generally just kind of give you some indications of what's going on with the coins that I review. So take a look at that there. Hope that finds you well, and if you want, obviously consider trading with Bitunix too, folks. These guys are a phenomenal exchange. Link down below. If you've used my link to register in the past, folks, you're part of our community. You're automatically eligible for this. This is specifically for our community, but if you're considering joining, use the link to register and you get some awesome deposit rewards. And obviously, I want to say congrats to our community. here for some solid profits on our Bitcoin short, Aptos short, and I think it was an ICP short as well. But again, those were from last week. This week, I think we're shifting gears a little bit more towards longs. More specifically, over the weekend here, I think a lot of altcoins are going to recover nicely or continue further up, pending Bitcoin doesn't drop super hard. So we'll see how that works out. All right, folks, thanks again for your time. We'll see you in the next one. Take good care of yourself. Bye-bye.